Was you trying to hit back then? You want to call at that time?
Right, like now you want, you know what I'm saying? Now you want to talk. You know what I'm saying? She did say she did say that she was sleeping, so it's like, I give you that. Goodness gracious, so everybody want to call now. Everybody want to talk now. Hold up now. No, I'm working. All right, so we're gonna start this thing off with 5, 4, 3, 2. Peace, love, and light to the family. What's going on? It's the Prince, Richie Moon. It's Monday. You know what that means. I'm here at the Divine Tribe headquarters. Here with my guy, Dre. Dre, what's going on, man? Introduce yourself to the people. Let the people know what you bringing to the table, my guy.
What's going on? It's your boy Dre Streetz. You know what I mean? I'm a musical artist, a rapper. Also, I make clothes as well, clothing designer. I'm just trying to put out a good message with my clothes and my music, and try to help me, my family, and the rest of the community.
Okay. So there's a lot going on right there. So I mean, the only way we can appreciate where we at now, and if we start from the beginning. So man, where you from, man? I know you're from your mother, but where she happen to have you at?
Cincinnati, Ohio, Lincoln Heights to be exact.
Okay, Cincinnati, Ohio. I've never interviewed somebody from Cincinnati, Ohio. What was it like growing up in Cincinnati?
Man, it's kind of rough, I come from like the first all black self-governed neighborhood in my city. You feel me? We was the first all black neighborhood above the North North Dixie line or something like that.
Okay.
So our neighborhood and stuff. We used to put out our own fires in our neighborhoods, and we made our own. We was the first clinic in our in our space. Like a lot of people got sick and stuff, so we had our own little stuff there. We got a lot of rich history from there, like the Isley brothers and stuff. Nikki Giovanni, they all from our neighborhood.
Okay, that's what's up. Wow, your own self government. Do you know how that came about?
Um, when people were migrating from the south, coming up to the north, my family is actually from my Crawford side of the family is actually from Starkville, Mississippi, and something happened there where they used to hang us on the what's that railroad?
Okay.
Yeah, they used to hang people up there. So something happened down there, and my family they hoboed up to Cincinnati, and some of them went to St. Louis. Some of them went to Cincinnati. But I know that my cousin Martha and my great grandfather I.D. Crawford, he came to Cincinnati, and from there they kind of just when they moved there, he was a junk, like he jumped, not a junkie. He used to jump in the neighborhood and stuff, and people like laughing at him and stuff. But he was actually saving up money so he can start a hotel and stuff, a business, a bar and stuff. You know what I mean, for our family. So a lot of people probably have similar stories to that. But a lot of coming up from the south to the north, a lot of people first stopped when they got to the from the north to the south. It was in Cincinnati. So a lot of people settled there.
Okay.
So in an undeveloped place where we were at was Lincoln Heights. Right now it's like only 3/4 of a square mile, but before then, our neighboring neighborhoods, it actually was Lincoln Heights. But once we tried to incorporate our land, people rushed and tried to do the same thing as well. So once was Lincoln Heights became reduced to a very small portion of what it used to be.
Interesting, man. Yeah, you're right, man. That is some rich history. I never knew that. But hey, man, shout out to learning something new every day. So, you said like that started like with your like not started, but like your grandfather and all that grew up in it. So, coming up, you said it's all black owned. So you're used to seeing our people do for themselves and seeing like how did that affect you growing up Like especially like when you left Cincinnati and went to other places because you grew up in a place with basically an all black town.
All right. Well, see, that's the thing. A lot of black towns like that. Starting in the '80s, it became like the deconstruction of it. You feel me? Because that's when the drugs came in, like crack and stuff like that. So my era didn't really get to reap the benefits of that because the destruction was already there. You feel me? Our business, by the time I was of age, it wasn't operable. The land was still there, but it wasn't there. Like my great grandfather, he had put it into play where for each generation, the first grandkid gets the business.
Right.
Well, I guess the first grandkid, he ended up giving it back to my grandfather and my great uncle. So however they did it, because I don't know what they got going on. Our business ended up getting sold. You feel me?
Damn.
And we had a motel, so everybody came there, so it was easy for the dope to be distributed through our businesses, and it wasn't necessarily the older people and stuff. That it was epidemic. It started coming in, and whoever targeted where, over time, the place where I'm from became a very crime infested neighborhood. So typically, basically, it is considered a suburb, but when you go there, it show you all the symptoms of a hood because all the neighboring neighborhoods are like white, predominantly white neighborhoods and stuff. You feel me? So it's kind of messed up. Like the story of Lincoln Heights, it used to be a very, very thriving neighborhood. Like people used to want to come there and stuff like. All type of stuff, like I say. They was telling me like Jimi Hendrix, he used to play behind what's that name? Who I was telling you, the Isley Brothers there.
Oh wow.
He used to play behind them there. So, and it was a lot of things going there. There was a lot of dope things going on in our neighborhood. People wanted to be a part of it, but everything good, somehow it gets messed up through,
Right.
them peoples or whatever, and how we go along with it, and not however. But just growing up in that neighborhood and stuff, I've always had that type of feeling, like I want to bring that type of stuff back. I've always had an entrepreneur sense of like mine, like I got some aunts and uncles who like pursue business and stuff like that, and just it's a lot of people in my family who
Do for self.
So it's like
Right.
and me, I use that same entrepreneur like spirit, but I put it towards my music. You feel me? And as well as my clothes, and want to continue to pass that down because I know that's in our blood. You feel me?
Right. Okay. I can definitely feel that. When did you first leave Cincinnati?
I first left Cincinnati in 2010. So come down here in Atlanta for school. I had just had like a few years before that. My daughter was born, and I was going through a lot of stuff with her mother, and he was playing the keep away game. So, I was just in the hood doing hood stuff. So it was just like I wanted to like further my education so that I have a baby in this world. So I need to further my education so I'll be able to teach, provide, and do something that's not normal. You know what I mean? My daddy, he never graduated. You feel me? And my mom used to tell me she was happy to get D's and C's. You feel me?
Wow.
So it was different. So I just try to make something out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's why, like, when it comes down to my music, my music always come from like a real place. Like I'm always talking about the things I've been through. Or when I first started, I used to talk about the things I seen. Then I got a little older, and my uncle, he used to like always preached to me, telling me to put a message in my music. He said you really good at what you do, but you need to start putting a message in there.
Right.
You feel me? And I wasn't really necessarily used to that. I was always used to talking about what I seen or what I thought was what was everybody wanted to talk about. Like just like the kids now, and they listen to the music on, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's out, and they like, okay.
They want to imitate.
Yes, exactly.
They want to imitate everything. That's what everybody wants to. Well, I mean, you brought up music several times. So where did the inspiration from the music start? What was it? What was your first memory of hip hop?
My first memory of hip hop, I remember like it's so funny. I remember being elementary, and the first rapper that actually inspired me, even though I used to come up listening to like different other hip hop stuff, but it was just like it was. I ain't gonna say before my time. I was too young to understand. The first rap song that I really understand was like a Mace song. It was like Mace and Puff Daddy.
Mace, okay, wow. What's your age?
I'm 33.
Okay, wow. So that was your first. That's your first memory of hip hop.
That's
Puff Daddy and Mace.
That's my first one that I can actually like when I can actually understand what they were saying. Like I used to like my mom she used to listen to like stuff like the hardcore album about like Lil Kim and Foxy Brown music and like all the like dope female rappers like dang Queen Pen.
Okay.
Stuff like that, like you feel me. So okay. I used to always like listen to rap and stuff, but it was like I was listening to the female rap because that's what my mama she used to listen to.
Right.
You feel me? Right. And I used to hear like Pac, Big, and all that stuff like coming up and stuff, like you know what I mean. But I didn't understand like that. You feel me? Once I started getting a little bit older, then I started re-listening to it. And like, oh yeah, hell yeah, like
it hit differently.
It hit different once I got older. But as far as understanding. Like it was Mace and Diddy for me.
Okay. Shiny suit era.
Yeah, shiny suit era. And but other than that, you gotta know I got big cousins who rap and stuff. Okay. So they were like, as far as that, it was my cousins like knowing that this was something, a possibility to do just because I'm seeing my big cousin Breeze, my big cousin Li, you know what I mean, homies in the hood like Dice, other homies in the hood who was doing stuff, and then like. More direct, my other cousin Dre, like you know what I mean, he the one who actually like helped me put shit together in the beginning, like.
Right. So I mean, as far as growing up where you did, what was, you know, most of the time you grow up listening to the music. I mean, you just mentioned your cousin and stuff like that, and you mentioned that your mother used to listen to Lil Kim and all that. So did y'all like support your local artists out there, or was it because most of the time wherever you're from, that's the music that you listen to? You know what I'm saying? I grew up in New York, so I listen to New York rappers and stuff like that. But it seems like that wasn't the case because you ain't grow up in New York, you ain't grow up like in Texas or whatever. Like who was the local artist that you feel like inspired you? Was it your cousins?
Yeah, my cousins. And it was like a lot of like most of all my homies growing up like they rapped and stuff, especially the older niggas like Ken Bricks, Shoe Shine.
Okay.
Like these niggas like from my neighborhood who was doing stuff, and then like other people who was doing stuff inside the city, like you know it was Team Millie that was doing stuff in the city. It was Young Butter and the whole All In, like you feel me. Then you know, still from my hood, you got Lion Gang, you got it was a lot of other stuff. But when I actually started getting into it was when I was in high school. It was like our neighborhood and then the neighboring neighborhood. Like we used to have like a little rap beef, and and I used to go to the studio and just listen. And like going there and rap and putting our stuff down, but I was part of a squad. We was called La Cosa Nostra.
Cosa Nostra.
Yeah, the new breed. Like
okay.
So then we we used to go back and forth in school. Like we used to make songs and drop them on them at school. So it was just like it was beef, but it was love at the same time.
Right.
First hard. So I always go back and forth like even now, like, you know, two of the people, like one person who's in my group and a person who was in another group, them two like battle rappers now, like battling URL rappers and stuff. Like,
Okay,
you know, like
okay,
my
okay.
family, H&H Zeke, and then there's another guy named Marco Mazzi. Like he was in what was that group called? I think they was called Triple M.
Mm.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
That's when that's like when rap started for me, like when I actually started writing and stuff
Right.
like that.
So who was the first person that you heard that made you actually want to rap?
Um, when I like I say, it was because I remember writing this stuff when I was in the 6th grade. It was Puffy and Mace. And I'm
Mm.
trying to tell you, it was so much to that I when I was in 6th grade, we had to write a song about like this book we wrote. It was like something about a rabbit, but I used to be beatboxing. I beatbox, and me and this girl named Jennifer Alexander, we came up with this rap, and um, I beatboxed, but we came up with the rap together, and then it was so dope that they liked it. They sent us to all the classes in our grade to do that rap. Like, you know what I mean? It was dope. So like that was the first time that that I thought it was dope. But when I was younger, like it was this homie in the hood. His name was Mikey. He
Okay.
used to stay on the next street. He used to always ask me to rap. He like, spit something. I used to be like 5'6" and stuff. I ain't know nothing about no rap, but I used to do it just because he asked me. But it was like I didn't ever follow up on that until like years later.
That's so interesting. So I'm like, not that I'm confused or anything like that, but it's just interesting being where you're from and being inspired by the shiny suit era. What was it about Puffy and Mace that made you? Was it because you understood what they were saying as far as like the break? Y'all ain't gotta hide. What y'all creeping around for like this 007? What y'all creeping for? It's all right. We live, pal. So what was it specifically about Puffy and Mace that made you like all right, like this inspires me to go out and rhyme? Like was it specifically the shiny suits? Was it
I
because
ain't
you
even gonna say
understood what they
it
were
was
saying?
because I could understood, and then it was more Mace than it was Puffy.
Right.
It was because
Shout out to Mace.
Mace, his flow and his delivery, it was more understandable, and it was like it made me feel like, dang, like I could do that because it was like he down there talked like how he rapped and shit. So it kind of like it was intriguing and
It was
stuff.
smooth,
So like
very smooth.
yeah, that was like um that was the first album I ever got. I think it was Double Up. It was a Double Up album. That was the first album that I remember getting. That wasn't the first album I bought. The first album I bought was Get Rich or Die Trying.
Okay,
I bought that with my own money. Like, that's when I was like, I think I was like 14.
Shout out to
50.
50.
You feel me? Yeah, like, you know what I mean? That was like a big inspiration as far as I used to listen to 50 all the time, like just like listening to how he was rapping and stuff, and like but not even fit. After I started listening to 50, I started getting into G Unit, so Lloyd Banks became my guy. Like you feel me? That was like my favorite rapper for a while. You know what I mean?
Listen, when G Unit was popping, Banks, Banks had it for a minute, man. Banks was supposed to be the next one up, man. Banks was kind of reminds me how Jay-Z said about Matt Bleak, man. He was always one hit away, but he never.
Yeah. My nigga too much of an introvert, man.
Yeah, he never.
Too much of an introvert.
He never quite got to those places that we as fans thought that he would get to. 50 actually spoken about this in interviews that he was just so laid back. You know what I'm saying? Like he just never really took the reins like he was supposed to. But
he definitely was dope sauce.
Right. Now I remember, I remember the Hoop Kid mixtapes and the G Unit mixtapes and all like that. Hoop Kid, G Unit, that was a great era for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? That was definitely a great era for hip hop. So all right, so you got inspired by Mace and Diddy. Get Rich or Die Trying was with the first joint that you brought. So when did you actually start well, not even when you start making music. When did you come to that realization was like, all right, this is something that I want to do?
My cousin, H&HC, you feel me?
H&HC?
Zeke.
Oh, Zeke. Okay.
Yeah. His name was Dread at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Down regardless of anybody's doubts.
Say that one more time.
Down regardless of everybody's doubts.
Okay.
That's what Dread stand for.
Okay.
So he that's why, like, you know, my name Dre Streetz. The streets in my name stand for seeing the real exit, embracing the zoo. You feel me? So when I really got into it is because, you know, that's like growing up, we wasn't always around each other, but once we became teenagers and stuff, like, we got real cool and we started kicking it around, and, like, you know, his big brother rapped, so he rapped and stuff. So it was just like, you know, and I was already like had some little, you know what I mean? So like the whole little beef thing, like I was telling you in school, the little rap battles and stuff like that. So just like, you know, I'm about to do this. Okay. So I remember
started off as a battle rapper.
Yeah, like, you know, just like, you know what I mean, writing against other people and stuff. Not necessarily we standing in front of each other, rap battling like that. We rap battling on tracks, we dissing each other back and forth.
Oh, okay. I do like that. So what, y'all recorded like on the tapes and then like what y'all sent it back and forth? Or
yeah,
how did that go?
We had a homeboy named Croc, like, you feel me? And he had a studio when we was young and stuff. So we used to all go to Croc House and just drop our songs. We was all part of a whole conglomerate. You feel me? So they dropping their songs, you know, they talking stuff, you know, they dropping songs on me. Remember, I used to get throwbacks from Korea, and I used to be selling them, like in school and stuff like that. So, you know, that's how I used to make my money.
Throwback era.
So I used to get them because my aunt was in the military. So I used to get them from over in Korea back then. So you know, people, they used to try to hate on me, like, you throw that inside of like bars and stuff, trying to say my stuff was fake. You this, that, and the third. You this, that, yeah. So it was just like. It was just funny. So we used to go back and forth on tracks going in like that. So
right.
And then, you know, just in the neighborhood, we start building up. People start understanding what was going on. But my cousin, like I said, he had the buzz, and I was just, you know, following the leader, like seeing what he was doing, and, you know, developing my own skills and talent. Because it was a time in our life when our voices sounded a whole bunch alike. You feel me? So it was just like, by our voices sounding so much alike, I had to come up with like my own type of style, because I ain't want to be up under my cousin wing that long. You feel me?
Right. So, you know, who did you format your flow from? You know what I'm saying? Like you said that, you know, Mace was the first person that you understood, and, you know, he was battle rapping, you know, to Get Rich or Die Trying, that era. So, like, did you format your flow after anybody?
See, my thing is to stand on my own. So my thing was to like create my own stuff, because everybody from where I was from, none of us had the same flow.
Okay.
We all, even if they were similar, they was totally different. Like, you know, my homie Stacks. My nigga, he locked up right now, but him and Smurf, they used to be going so crazy, and like them was like they was in the same group as us, but they had their own group within inside of a group. So, you know, like, they was super dope. They inspired me a lot as well. Like, you know what I mean?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it's. I mean, that's dope, because most people start off and they kind of end up. You know, copying somebody's flow, and then they eventually end up, you know, breaking out into their own. So that's dope that you had already started out and you wanted to stand out on your own from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see. So gosh, I'm trying to think back. Get Rich or Die Trying. This was like 2000.
I think like 4, 3, something like that.
Yeah, it's like 2000. or something like that. Yeah, 2004, 2000, 2005. Did you have any other influences from around that area? Because that was a great time in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? G Unit was super popping. I mean,
Of course.
when G Unit came, I mean, when 50 came through, like.
Of course. Before 50, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good.
It made me remember, and I didn't want to forget.
Nah, go ahead.
The Locks, like Kiss, like that was my guy. Like, you feel me? If anybody at that time, I would say, any mimics or anything at that time. Now that you say, going back, it would be Kiss. But my favorite rapper before all of that, it was like Styles P. You feel me? So it's just like
Shout out to Styles P.
You feel me? I rocked with all of that. So
right,
you know what I mean. And then Dipset era and stuff. We used to like that's why we like the samples and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, that's dope. Yeah, that's dope. Shout out to the Locks. We're not from exactly the same area, but Yonkers is not too far from Greenberg. It's now, shout out to the 914. That's wow. That's dope to know that their music was, influencing all different parts of everywhere. Because I ain't gonna hold you, being from New York, we're a bit, we support our own. Not saying that we didn't listen to other artists, but like, you from New York, you listen to people from New York. That's just how we was, yo. Like straight up, like that's how we was, yo. You from New York, we listen to people from New York. It was hard especially during that time. If you're from outside of New York, it was very hard to get love. If you're not from even within that, like, like the Locks, they was from Yonkers, that they really had to come up. They had to go out to the city to working with Diddy and all that. Diddy always says he's from Diddy always scream about Harlem, but Diddy's from Mount Vernon, which is right next to Yonkers, which is in Westchester, which is outside the city. So the throne has never been outside the city. You know what I'm saying? As much as I love the Locks and all of them, the throne never went outside of the Bronx. So the Bronx is right here, and Westchester is right here. The Bronx, the throne never went up further north. So it's just dope to hear that that music just spread across everybody, and it influenced everybody the same way.
See, in Cincinnati, it's crazy because whatever hot. I'm from the Midwest, so we get music from everywhere.
Again, from everywhere.
We influence from all genres, from everywhere. Like anything that was popping out in Cali, anything that was popping when down south started going crazy. Cincinnati embraces everybody. Everybody music, but they own.
Wow, it's the reverse New York. Okay.
Yeah. So it'd be different. That's why you go to Cincinnati and everybody sound different. Because our influences come from everywhere. Like no two artists in Cincinnati are alike unless they're in the same clique.
Right.
You know what I mean? So even regional, because Cincinnati is broken up into hoods for real.
Was it gang banging out in Cincinnati?
It's some people who gang bang, but it's not heavy. I definitely say it's sprinkled out there.
Right.
But I ain't gonna be like, oh yeah, this gang capital. Feel ain't nothing like that. You feel me? But it's definitely people out there who got major gang ties type shit.
Okay. That's okay. That's interesting. So at what point we touched on it a little bit earlier. When did you start to spread your wings, and when did you head to Atlanta? What year specifically did you head to Atlanta?
2010.
2010. I'm just trying to juxtapose this with hip hop and see what was going on in hip hop during that time. Man, 2010.
It's like Roscoe Dash, Travis Porter.
Yeah, this is really when the South starts to. I might be off my timeline. I'm just trying to think. All right, so like 2009 is like I remember 50 and Kanye went at it. This is like sort of really the decline of gangster rap because Kanye ended up coming out to being the victor on that, which was just another 9/11 ritual. Those two being like Twin Towers rap at the time. We were just watching the Kanye the Drink Champ interview. Kanye being more like the backpack, the intellectual rapper, and 50 being the street dude. But Kanye won that. You know what I'm saying? Kanye won that battle. It wasn't even a battle, but like as far as like, what they were trying to do with the marketing and the record sales and all that, Kanye ended up outselling 50. Did that because that kind of shifted hip hop when that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like that was the decline of gangster rap. After that, you had to be like a combination. Like you had to be like a backpack rap. Like if you wanted to be a gangster rapper, you had to be a gangster rapper and like a backpack rapper. Like that was kind of like the breeding. Like that, I was like when Lil Wayne really started to come like into his own because like he was a gangster rapper, but he also rode a skateboard. He was a gangster rapper, but he also had some backpack in him. So did that? I say all that. Did that end up influencing your music? The decline of the decline of gangster rap? Did that end up changing your music in any kind of way?
Um, I will say it probably did at that time. Cause I was always like just trying to learn. I always was trying to be like a student of music. So
Right.
as music changed, I changed.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I never got like to the point where like you get stuck in a certain era and then everything else after it you don't see it no more because you're so stuck in the era.
Right.
I evolved with the times. Like even now to this day, it's like I'm not even like the music that I make now is probably a lot more introspective, probably a lot more conscious.
Growing up as a man, different environments, life has happened.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just like
With that being said, during this time, 2010, you left home and you moved to Atlanta. How did Atlanta end up influencing your music? Because you changed environments, changed cities. How did that end up influencing your music?
I stopped writing. I got tired of because it was before I left. At that time, remember everybody was talking about like how Jay-Z was as far as like how he recorded in the studio, as far as like him not writing and stuff like that. So before I left Cincinnati, I had trained myself to actually not write and make rhymes up in my head, and you know what I mean. So when I actually got down there, it was this dude and his brother. They used to have a studio and stuff, but his brother ain't really use it. So I used to have little weed I was selling in college, and I traded him some weed for the studio. And I hated it at our spot, and every day, my homeboy from Memphis, he was staying there. Then it was me and my brother, and then I had my cousin and my other nigga Trent. So we always in the same like little dorm and shit. Like,
right.
So every day we waking up to somebody else that made some music, and then everybody else who went to our little school, we had them coming over and recording and stuff. So we had a lot of different things going on. It was like we was like the popping kids. Like everybody wanted to be at our spot.
Right.
We had everything. We had the studio. We had.
Where'd you go to school at?
And when I came down here, it was just like a little off-brand joint. Like what's that stuff called? AIU.
Okay.
So they brought us
the Art Institute.
It's right next to the Art Institute.
Okay.
You feel me? It's American Intercontinental University.
Okay.
So I went there, and it was just like the environment that they created because they gave us like we college kids, instead of being in the actual dorms where somebody can actually monitor, see what's going on. We were in apartments. You feel me? So we, you know what I mean, just out there doing our own thing. Like, we had free reign and stuff. It got to the point where everybody wanted to move where we was at.
Right. That's dope. So, I mean, at this point, you've been doing music for a little minute. I mean, where did you record a mixtape at this time? Was it what was your first experience like with like I mean, you had been in the studio at this time, but like had you start releasing beside like outside of like the battle rap stuff? Have you started releasing music?
Um, I had, like, as far as that time, it wasn't like, you know, Spotify and stuff like that, but we had music that we made, and like people in the colleges used to hear them and stuff like that.
So you passed them like on CDs and stuff like that.
We definitely had CDs.
Shout out to the CD era, man.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I definitely had my era out there grinding CDs and stuff like that.
Right.
Also, at that time, it was a lot of different things going on, because like our next door neighbor happened to be the road manager for remember my lodge, Ain't Tricking If You Got It. And you know I'm thinking, that shit that T-Pain ended up doing too.
I think I know. I don't want to say for sure. It sounds familiar. I think I remember I remember T.I. doing. Like,
yeah, they were supposed to sign with T.I. B-Boy and B-Town.
Oh.
Their name was Malaj.
Okay.
They from down here. They from Atlanta.
Yeah, cause with T.I. doing a song, sax on deck, Patron on, and you can do whatever you like.
Yeah, not that song, but it was another song like in that same category. It was like it's called "Ain't Tricking If You Got It." Whenever you get a chance, listen to it. You can be like, oh dang, I remember that song. Yeah, but we started kicking it with them, and like you know, they took us on the road with them one time. We went to Milwaukee with them and got the whole experience, like walking through the club, got fans grabbing on us and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? So we done been around to like see, like, you know what I mean? We was around in that area, like, you know, at the time when like Fox and Million and them was out, and we was like in the same hotel with them, and like Brick Squad and all them people. We was, I ain't gonna say we was like with them and stuff. We at the same hotel just because of the affiliation with them.
Right. That's dope. Do you remember your first mixtape?
Yeah, my first mixtape, it was with my brother, my little brother Mo Glani, and my little cousin and the little homie Work. The name of the mixtape was called Rec Team. That was the first mixtape. It was like they had put together a team, and I was just like affiliated because I was already doing my own thing. That was my brother team. That was the actual mixtape that we first came out. But the first actual CD that I was on was my cousin Dre's CD. He came out. So I was like, I had music out, you know what I mean, around and stuff. And then me and my brother, we came out with our official tape, and we made our group. When I like separated from my cousin and started doing my own thing, I brought my brother in, and we came up with a group called Grade A. That's what this tattoo on my hand stands for. So gifted, real alike individuals, dedicated always.
Grade A. Okay.
Yeah,
Shout out to them.
Yeah, straight up. Smoke De Niro, Moog Money, Hard Work, Evolutions. You know, you feel all of them. You know what I mean? That's still my squad. You feel me?
Right.
So
what at this point? What year is this? At this point?
At this point, I think that year when we did that, it could have been right before I left. So it's like 2009, 2008 or something like that.
Okay.
You feel me? So when I got down there, when we first got down here, we ended up putting together a group with the name of our door number was 8105. You feel me? So that was our group when we was in college. You feel me? With my homie from Memphis, and then my brother, and then you know my cousin and my other nigga from my hood. We was just doing our thing, and like we used to go out to like out to Snellville, and we used to perform because my homie, he used to promote at this place called the Vote Lounge. You feel me? So we used to go out there, and then my homie who was in the group with us, he used to do tattoos. So he used to set up his tattoo stuff out there. We used to go out there and kick it and shit like that. So.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. So at this point, you had mentioned it before. You had mentioned it before, but you had a child at this point.
Yeah.
You had a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
So how did having a child, especially a little girl, how did that affect your music?
Oh, it affect like the things that I wanted to hear, like I wanted them to hear, but at that time I was too immature to actually like incorporate it into my music at that point. So it was just a struggle over time to actually remember back when I told you when my uncle was telling me to put a message in my music. Since then I had been working on trying to do it because there was a lot of things that was going on, like the death of my brother and stuff, things that I couldn't talk about in my music that I really wanted to, and things that was going on, like, you know what I mean, that it was hard for me to talk about. So like, just by me continue to create, it just like, helped me get into the point of like, okay, this is the level that I'm on right now. You know what I mean? Just by always like, before I ever started rapping, I used to write poetry. So just like I used to use them different type of rhyme schemes, and like, like my favorite poet was Emily Dickinson.
Okay.
Because she was
Shout out to Emily Dickinson.
Cause she like the one who kind of developed that slant rhyme. Like,
what's slant rhyme?
Slant rhyme is like a half rhyme. It's like when you rhyme vowel sounds.
Can you give me an example?
Okay, like I do it so much in my music. It's so hard for me to give an example right now. I'll come back to that. You feel me? But I know I do it a lot in my music. You just rhyming vowel sounds. Like if it's a O, you gon' if that vowel sounds like O, you're gonna rhyme another word that says O. Like, you know what I mean? You're gonna rhyme the vowels instead of rhyming the last word. You're gonna rhyme the middle of it. So that's kind of a half rhyme.
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that style of rhyming before.
Yeah.
When you think of something, please come back to a little verse that you did. It ain't gotta be the whole verse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but a lot of my stuff is like that because it was just like that's where I developed like my poetry style.
What is that called again?
Slant rhyme or half rhyme. Like at that time when she was coming up and she was doing her stuff, she used to always be by herself and stuff, and she wrote a lot about love and her love losses and things like that. And she used to send out her poetry to like the top poets at that time. And one of the poets had sent her back and was basically saying that it was good, but it was like a little bit underdeveloped and stuff like that. So she didn't really like send out too much. She just wrote about her life and her lost loves and stuff like that. And then after she passed, she was a very to herself person. When she passed, I guess her sister and them came through and they found all her poetries and they got it published, and she became one of the biggest poets of that time, even regardless of the people who were the biggest poets at that time saying that her style was undeveloped.
Wow.
You feel me? So that's why I kind of like fuck with her, because she was like an underdog. But the only fucked up thing is she didn't get to reap her benefits while she was alive.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
And she used to make like a lot of her poetry was like real short, but to the point.
What's her name again?
Emily Dickinson.
Emily Dickinson. Say her name.
Yeah.
Emily Dickinson. Shout out to Emily Dickinson. Rest in power to her. She had started a whole genre and all that. She never physically had the chance to see. So shout out to the fact that that she did that. We're actually watching one of your videos right now. Where was this video shot at?
Downtown Cincinnati at Gateway Apartments.
Okay. Yeah, definitely a young Dre Streetz, even before the dreads. You know what I'm saying?
This is the start of the locks. I even said, "Fuck this for I'm about to lock up" on the song.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So, I mean, at this point in your journey, you've been doing music for a while. You know, you've been taking it serious. You got your daughter. You're starting to. Um, One thing I thought is really cool about this is that you always had like your own style. I mean, we were all influenced by other artists, but you stayed true to having your own style and things like that. Uh, when do you feel like you got? So I'll give you an example so for some context. I've been doing a Richie Moon show for at this point a year and a half. I didn't feel like it was really until the end of November, coming into December, that I was like, I know what I'm doing. I got this. Like, I know how to format an interview. I know how to pull the things out of people that I want to. When do you feel like you actually got it as an MC, as a rapper? When did you like, damn, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I got this. This is.
Um, Developing, just being in college and stuff, but the lack of us, like, capitalizing on certain opportunities by you being inside of a group and you got to do a group thing. You feel me? A lot of that stuff not propel, but like having sidetracked you and like slowed me down as far as like actually like taking it a little bit more serious and like actually getting my stuff out there and doing what I want to do. But in college, it's definitely when. Remember, I told you when I got to college, I stopped writing. I was so used to just writing. I just let myself free up, and everything was off the top, and just making it like that. And as I was like, just formulating like different type of flows, and formulating different type of like music and stuff, it was like I felt like no matter what type of song it was, I could do it. Any person who I came in contact with, if I knew a little bit about you, I could write from your point of view. You feel me? So that's when I knew that I could really do it. But it was just like, different things happen to you in this world where like, it slow you up. Like other than just that, because I got 3 other kids other than that first daughter I was telling about.
Right.
You feel me?
Right,
So
right.
me getting in, it seemed like every time I was trying to build myself up, I got into a relationship, and I took the relationship serious, and out comes this another person, and things slow down. A lot of different things happen. So
Right.
now I'm at a place where it's like I understand that focus and just staying consistent with what you do will pay off.
Right.
And so it's like I can't keep
Facts.
being too spotty with what I'm trying to do. Like
Facts.
consistency is the key.
Consistency is definitely the key. That's how you develop it. That's how you really end up bringing the power. You know what I'm saying? By keep doing it, because then you let the universe know. You command the universe to bend to your will, to narrate. So you brought up the fact that you stopped writing and you started developing your rhymes in your head. Is that a format you still use, or did you go back to writing?
I do both now. Like it's just whatever feels comfortable. So it just all depends. Like if I'm with a group of people, I'm not writing. I'm not doing that. If I'm by myself, I'm gonna write. It just all depends. If I'm by myself and I have a studio, I'm not gonna write. If I'm the one controlling, if I'm the one who recording, I'm not writing. But if I'm just listening to a beat and I'm by myself, majority of the time I'm gonna write to it.
Right.
So it just all depends. Like like my last project I released, it's all level to it. Ain't probably like 2 songs on there that I didn't write at all. Like you feel me? But the rest of those, I actually sat down and wrote, and it was just like I wrote that while I was in a relationship. These are songs that like that helped me cope with what I was going through.
Right.
You feel me?
Right. I mean, it's a sad thing, but even when we look at the origin of rhythm and blues, the reason why those songs hit so hard and the reason why you can feel it is because those artists were actually going through that heartbreak during that time. They were going through whatever they were going through and just transmuting that energy and putting it into the music. And it sounds like that's what you were doing. You were just taking what was going on in your life and taking that energy and passing it through your music.
Maybe hopefully I can make a new a rap blues genre or something. Like, you feel me? Contemporary blues. I don't know whatever type of blues. Like, you know what I mean. But now that you say it, that last album is definitely the blues.
What was your last album called?
It's All Love Into It, eh?
So okay, well we was listening to some of those. We was listening to some of that. That's some of the music that was playing on this. When did you release that?
This year, March 5th, 2021.
Okay, so March 5th, 2021. All right. I like that. Like timestamps so we can so everybody can follow the story. So March 5th, 2021. We're gonna leave that right there for a second. Take me back to March 2019 when COVID first happened. What was going on in your life during that? What was music like for you during that time?
That's when I was creating this. Like I was telling you, it was like what was going on is I was in an extremely toxic relationship, and I like I say, I was writing music to cope with what I was going through, because you know I'm a type of person who really don't talk about what I'm going through, and sometimes I don't even know how to tell you what I'm going through. It's like I write myself out of my situations.
Right.
You feel me? So throughout that, it was just a whole collection. It was like at the time when I was making it, I had other music that I was making too, but all these songs I kept them in the tuck because it was so personal to me. I really didn't want nobody to hear them. I was only listening to them. But you know, once I kind of got released of that situation and like what was it? That I think February. Some crazy stuff happened in a relationship, and I wasn't around, so it was just like, you know, at that time I knew that it was like now all this music that I have been making, I had a use for it.
Right.
Because it kind of feel weird when you kind of still in a relationship trying to drop the music that was helping you cope through the bullshit that you was going through, because it brings up the situations again.
Right.
It's like tearing a band-aid or ripping off a scab. You feel me? So it was like, you know what? I'm gonna protect myself at this point.
Right.
Like me and my energy. I'm gonna keep this in the tuck for right now.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you, but you ended up, you know, taking that, like I said earlier, and transmuting that energy and ended up putting it into the music, which is dope. Cruel Cold World. When was it? Was this before?
Yeah.
This was before.
It's All Love Into It, ain't?
Yeah.
Yeah. This Cruel Cold World. It's funny. Cruel Cold World was an album that I had been working on when I got down here after the whole college era and stuff. And I started working on. All right, I had went back to Cincinnati for like a year or two, and I just like started going to the studio, and I like was just like a resurgence of energy, and I just went back in there and started doing a lot of different like stuff, and like all the people from my neighborhood, I brought it together because it was like Cruel Cold World, CCW. CCW came from my homeboy Shushan, one of my inspirations I told you earlier. He had a song called CCW. Okay. But he was talking about obviously a gun. You feel me? Carrying a concealed weapon.
Right.
So I just used that and I flipped it into something else that I can use for myself because I like this song so much, and I made it Cruel Cold World. You feel me? And I had my my album for a little bit, and I wanted to come out with it, but I had the thought of it. But while I was down here before I went back to Cincinnati, I had this thought, and I'm like, dang, I couldn't go to the studio. It was a weird time in my life, so at that time, that's when I came out with my clothes. Because music wasn't making me money at that time.
Right.
And I came up with some clothes